My name is Andreas Sjöström. I am Vice President and Global Head of Digital. And I would like to spend these 40 minutes to tell you about what has happened since last summit in the Sogeti Group and our experiences in digital. Our point of view and reflections on market trends and key initiatives that our customers are engaged in, and share those with you. Going digital, what does it mean? Why is this question relevant? Of course, I see a lot of familiar faces here, and I know that you are all engaged somehow in digital transformation programs or digital programs or programs that in certain aspects are fundamentally changing how you operate in front of your customer or internally, or even how your business model is set up. So I know I speak in front of an audience that is actually well embedded into the characteristics of digital leadership. The way that we see our customers struggle and how we want to make our customers better, I think we can explain it in the analogy of being a digital predator or a digital prey. That is, I think, the essence of going digital. Sometimes we are engaged in discussions, what is digital versus IT, what's so different today? I think this photo explains the difference. I think we have leaders, predators in their respective markets, and they are fighting and struggling in the market, and some companies end up becoming a predator and some end up becoming prey, and these are the planned characteristics of each. What is the difference? And I think here is the reflection on why are we talking about going digital versus what's IT and business, that type of discussion. So on the predator side, the company has immersed all of its business in digital. Everything has a digital context. A physical product or an existing legacy process has some kind of context in digital, has some kind of digital characteristic, is somehow available across devices, across sizes of screens, etc., is available for the customer or employee. Everything has a digital context. And the agenda and the vision is centered around customer value. That's the fundamental driving force, customer value. Forrester research, which we have on stage at the summit, published a report not long ago explaining different ages that we have gone through. Age of manufacturing, we learned how to mass manufacture. Age of distribution, we learned how to globally distribute these products. And then we have the age of information from the 90s and onward. And Forrester means, and I agree, that we are in many ways now, today, in the age of the customer. So if we bring all of these ages together that we have gone through, we are now in a situation where the companies that excel are those that are customer obsessed. Because the customer expects a personalized experience, a personalized service, a personalized product, just in time, at that immediate situation of need, in context. So we're really in a customer obsession phase right now. It's challenging and inspires employees to take hard decisions. Hard decisions is often related to change of the way we operate, change in product setup and processes. World-class customer experience and digitally improved value chains. where there's a real-time connection from the external event to internal processes. Now, that's the digital predator, and then we have the poor souls over here, the digital preys, that are stuck in a situation where they are keeping business and IT, and on purpose I use IT, separately. We are still in a siloed approach. So business is one thing and IT is another thing. With that point of view, we haven't injected digital into the service. We haven't injected digital into the product, which actually digital becomes the product. It's just pasted on top legacy platforms and processes. It's like we're publishing a product information brochure on our internet website, and thus we think we're digital. But we just pasted some IT on top of that legacy product. We didn't force digital into the characteristics of the product. I think you see where I'm getting at here. The difference between the predator and the prey. Not just focusing on the cost reductions and commodity infrastructure on the technology side, and moving away from that which is manual into that which is automatic and real-time. So that is a bit of an introduction about going digital and the vast difference between the predator and the prey. And for those of you who attended previous summits, or just in general are following trends, you are well aware of the term digital disruption, where markets are fundamentally changed at their core because of digital. And there are the typical examples that you all have heard when you attend conferences like this, like Uber and like Airbnb, etc., where business models are just digital, where the touch points are just digital, and the companies just have a platform, and then we invite other players in an ecosystem to create value, right? So we are fundamentally changing the rules of the game. So I just want to go through 3 other examples, not the typical ones, like now in highly regulated markets, like the financial and the banking industry, where when we are talking to our customers, especially in Sweden and the Netherlands, about this, they say all the same thing. They say we are not challenged by one specific type of company or startup or digital disruptor aiming to replace the bank, but indeed we are facing many different technology business providers in our sector that are all attacking us in different pieces of our business. So we have, of course, at the core center here, we have the PayPal and the Google Wallet and Apple Pay, which is not so much present yet in the Nordic region, but is gaining ground in the US. We have in Sweden, of course, Klarna. I think you are all aware and have some kind of interaction with Klarna, which is taking a lot of payment streams from banks. And then we can go around the circle and see that we're seeing digital disruption even in highly regulated markets. And then we have, of course, these crowd run lending, saving companies, where I don't go to a bank to loan or save. I go to these digital startups. I push my resources into this, and then they loan it out. There's not a bank. So these are the investors. They provide funding, and I will make my monthly payment. So taking this loaning and saving out from the bank. And we have Uber-like and Airbnb-like services to facilitate this. In another sector, in the public sector, I did some work recently with the Swedish National Board of Courts, Domstolsverket in Swedish. You have to go to domstolsverket.se and then click on English to find out what the English name is. Fairly similar is, of course, the Department of Justice. is Justitiedepartementet. It's not really the same. But I spent some time looking at Department of Justice in the US and how they present their digital strategy and how they have implemented it, how it's visible from the outside. Because we're talking about something quite conservative, and we're in the public sector. And if you just scroll down the page, they list their 3 primary objectives with their digital strategy. They want to enable the American people and an increasingly mobile workforce to access high-quality digital government information and services. It's not just information, it's also transactional services. Anywhere, anytime, on any device. Ensure that as the government adjusts to this new digital world, we seize the opportunity to procure and manage devices, applications, and data in smart, secure, and affordable ways. I think this is a fantastic sentence. It's really super clear, and I think most of us would love to have a working environment where this actually works, where we are actually, to our employees and our customers, we're able to deliver this. And then the third is immensely important, not just in the public sector, but in any market, for any company. Unlocking the power of government data. Now take out the word government, and you can apply it to your own business. Power of data to spur innovation, improve the quality of services for the American people. Open data, open APIs, open ecosystems where companies are innovating together with other players in the ecosystem to give their customer, joint customer, better services is at the core of digital transformation. This is an often overlooked aspect. I will return to this subject a little bit further. Now the third example is actually in the form of a brief video. It's from the truck manufacturer Saab, making trucks. And they just recently released this product.
Even in an industry fueled by ideas, every now and then, innovation takes an unexpected turn. Most of the time, our evolution of technology will feel familiar, born from our natural drive to enhance vehicle safety and engine performance, shrink environmental footprint, and increase profitability for our customers. But on rare occasions, you'll encounter something almost unreal. Like a smartwatch from a truck manufacturer. Unlikely as it may seem, to us it makes perfect sense. Bold and vigilant, yet gracious and sleek. This is much more than a watch. It's the first part of your truck that you can wear. A stylish tool that helps you keep track of fuel consumption trends, how to optimize your driving efficiency, and naturally, when it's time to work and when it's not. Among many other features, it also comes with a promise from us that this is just the beginning. The Black Griffin Scan Your Watch. The essence of your truck on your wrist.
I want to be a truck driver when I see this video. It's super cool. It's a modified, rebranded Sony SmartWatch. It runs Android, and of course, any feature set functionality in this watch, you could of course see that in an Apple Watch or in a typical other Android watch, whatever. I think let's see beyond that. Let's see what Saab did here. It's not just about that watch. It's about injecting their product into digital, extending it to their customer and their user. And I think this is an example of that type of thinking and innovation. So when we're talking about digital transformation journeys, because I think it's going to be an ongoing process, it's never going to end, This is a great map listing some significant characteristics of leaders in their markets and highlighting enabling initiatives, what our customers are engaged in today. Now, we could spend, I think, the remainder of this session to go through this slide. I will keep it quite short and an overview. I will be, during breaks, available outside, and I would like for you to come by and we can discuss more in detail, especially about this map. It's from research from MIT and our consulting sister in the group, Capgemini Consulting, the digital transformation framework. And it lists 3 domains that market leaders are engaged in their transformation agenda. Customer experience, as I already discussed, is customer obsession, really focusing on world-class customer service, customer touch points, omni-channel coherence, etc. We have the operational processes, efficiency, worker enablement, working from anywhere, anytime. And we have the business model transformation, where new business models are derived from new digital technologies and platforms. And beneath all of this, we need to have a set of capability to support the change. So this is an excellent framework to work out from and to pull out both case studies and best practices. And then we have the leader characteristics. Key characteristics include the mind shift that everything is digital. There is not physical and IT or physical and digital. Everything is put into a digital context. And we are customer obsessed. We work with personas. We work with customer journeys. We want to, and connecting it with the initiative of a mobile moment, we want to map out the moments in which the customer is in need and want, and provide contextually relevant functionality information to that moment. So, customer obsession, digital workplace, of course, giving the tools also to employees, not just the customer, and making those connections in real time. And the leader has an open partner model. A leader has on their site developer.company.com. I can go to that sub-site, I can register to become a developer with you and for you, where you publish your developer guidelines and you publish your APIs and you allow third-party companies, startups, students, other companies, to start to interact with your functionality and information to give more value to your joint customer. Real-time analytics. Analytics in digital has a core place, is at the core. We used to say a few years ago that a key competitive advantage is user experience. If you design using service design thinking and get the best visual designers, then you have some edge. But today it's becoming more or less a hygiene factor. If you don't look good, you don't look good. And customers don't want to interact with you, right? So that's shifting now to analytics. The competitive advantage factor is how well equipped are you in analytics? And not just the weekly or monthly dashboarding, real-time analytics. How fast can you respond to customer events on the field? That's an analytics engine behind making sure that you take that right decision so that you notify that customer to that particular device in that particular format when it happens. So real-time analytics is really important, and I just want to, if you stand up, Sandeep, I just want to make sure that everyone sees you. Sandeep is our Vice President and Global Head of Analytics, Insights and Data. So if you want to talk about this, he's your man. Innovation Lab. I will discuss that a little bit further as well. We help facilitate the setting up of innovation labs with our customers. There are some key points that are relevant when setting up an innovation lab. Of course, first you need to have a charter. So what's the purpose of the innovation lab? Then you need to give the lab the right questions. What are the questions that the lab should focus on and try and answer? For example, how do we excel in customer service? Just a basic, question. You need to have a governance in place, of course, leadership. You need to have an ideation process in place. How do you get the right ideas? Do you have an idea culture in your company? Do you encourage new ideas from employees? Do you encourage new ideas from your customers? Where do customers inject their idea to your product? Do you have I have an idea widget in your app or your website? How do you make sure you collect that? And maybe the most important factor of a successful innovation lab is this: that you have defined the criteria how you choose what idea to prototype. If you haven't defined that, and the decision is seemingly ad hoc or personal preference, you are destroying the investment. It has to be clear. Because if that's clear to begin with, the startups that sees on your website, on developer/yourcompany.com, here is our innovation lab. We are looking for these ideas. This is the criteria, the successful innovation criteria that we are looking for. You are kind of guiding into the right direction. For example, guiding characteristics could be, we want to have the idea to support immediacy, like immediately giving the right, or intimacy. We want the customer to have a personalized experience. So what are those characteristics? Sensification. Everything in, I think, trend studies is about sensification. We are adding sensors to ourselves. We are adding sensors to things and to cities, to places. DevOps as a methodology and delivery vehicle, going Scrum on steroids, being able to go from development to deployment 60 times per hour. From development to operations, DevOps, that's where it comes from. And last but not least, the omni-channel quality assurance aspect. So how do you make sure that what you develop is tested across all of these devices, all of these digital touchpoints, automatically, which has to be automated because we are pushing into deployment 60 times per hour, perhaps. So how do you automate across these? So that's really an important initiative. So I already touched a little bit about mobile moments. The necessity of the mobile mind shift. So in your mind, you need to shift to this moment in time where the user has the needs this, wants this, or just you can be unexpectedly helpful. You need to, in real time, go through these devices, these applications, and then hit your internal platform processes and your staff. So mobile moments modeling is an initiative and the type of project that we are engaged in with our customers today to make sure we are really relevant in those moments in time. This is an example. The airline industry is full of mobile moments. You know that as a frequent traveler. So this is a mapping where the flight is here. This is a day before the flight, 1 to 2 hours before the flight, and then after the flight. There are so many different moments that you are expected to do something or you're engaging with the airline. And then we have something that they call irregularity. Irregularity is, for example, when the flight is cancelled. We don't like that. This is a mobile moment. This is a critical moment in which the airline can win your heart, because we really dislike a cancelled flight. So what we do here is, okay, so we know that we have a flight cancellation, and now we will collaboratively, automatically rebook. So as soon as you see that cancellation, you envision that line of 200 people in front of the service desk, and you are last, and you are really worried that you're not getting on that flight. So you're becoming sweaty, you're not comfortable, you're really unhappy. Now instead, once you get that notification in your phone, so you read that, and the app starts, and the app says, so we know your flight was cancelled. We suggest these 2 flights out. Which one do you want? And I tap, I want that one. And then you are rebooked. And on the back of that screen, you get the voucher to get some fika, which is coffee and a cinnamon bun. Now that's a mobile moment. That's being unexpectedly helpful, right? So an example of mobile moments. The difference for the airline of being everything is digital immersed versus pasted, where IT is pasted. So really, I think these are some photos I shot when traveling in the US a couple of months ago. They paste some digital on the napkins, so hashtag I fly Alaska, so then I can see on Instagram some, which is nice, which is kind of customer, I don't know, marketing and a little bit of napkin, so, but it's really pasted on top of that old. And I think the whole experience is like, yeah, we're trying to push in the product and service into digital. And then we have the other scenario where I came late to the airport, and I had to run through security, and they were holding the flight. So I was really stressed out, and you have to unbuckle, take off your belt. And then when you're through the security, you have to put your computer back into the bag you have to put on the belt, and that's pretty tricky when you're stressed out. So I didn't. I held the belt in my hand, I held the trousers in my other hand, and I had my computer bag on my shoulder, and I ran like crazy. And this was on Bromma, which is really bad because you're running on the platform, so the people who are already seated, they can see you running out beside the airplane. So the stewardesses saw me come running. And this is the first and only time that the stewardess provided me and presented me a glass of water when I got on board and said, we saw you come running, and they snickered. Yeah, so thank you for the water. I really needed the water, so I was really... Now, with this wristband, with this activity band, which was, by the way, the Christmas gift of the year in Sweden in 2014, I have opted into my frequent flyer club, that I'm sharing my pulse data with 20 minutes before they come. They don't need to see me. They know this is 170 heartbeats per minute. This passenger, being a gold or diamond, is going to get a glass of water. Now we're talking to having injected, digital into the process. You see, that's sort of the physical visible or the digitally visible. Sensification, we're doing it to us. We are putting sensors on our bodies. We are pushing sensors into our bodies, the NFC tags and the magnetic sensors that kind of vibrate a little bit under your skin when it senses magnetic fields, which is electricity also. And we have this guy, don't miss that TED Talk, it's on YouTube. This guy has a vest on him filled with mobile phone vibrators. Your phone can vibrate. They pulled out those vibrators and put those vibrators into the vest. Put a microphone on the vest. And then they have an algorithm that, depending on the sound, different vibrators vibrate different on different strengths. Which means they have had success in training deaf people to hear through the vibrations on the body. Because the theory is the brain is just a black box, just getting signals now through the air, but you can get the same signals from the vibrations around your body, and it will interpret the sound eventually to understanding. And they showed successful experiments with this. So we are adding in some areas important sensors to ourselves. We are adding sensors to them. This whole summit is about life in the age of autonomous decision machines, like our robots. Now we are already interacting with robots or with algorithms. As soon as you make a Google search, you're interacting with an algorithm. You're already putting into the hands of an algorithm what you read. Because who pushes that next button on the Google search result page to see the second page? Very few. You are trusting that algorithm for what you read. We are already talking to Siri. You can have a conversation with her, and she's pretty funny. Yesterday I said to her, "You're pretty funny," and she said, "Yes, I know." And that's true, I did actually talk to Siri yesterday. Alexa or Echo from Amazon is an interesting device because it's always listening. Siri, you have to push a button. Okay, you can say, "Hello Siri," when it's on power, then she will wake up. This Alexa is always on at home, and you can say, "Alexa," and she will respond. What's the score right now between Real and Malmö or whatever, and she will respond. Cortana is the same from Microsoft. Intel and Microsoft are collaborating on a technology called Wake on Call. So the new Windows 10 PCs will always be listening. So you can talk any time, even when it's turned off. It's in standby. It's going to be Wake on Call. Now, of course, it's interesting from a NSA/privacy/ all of that, but I won't go there. So we are adding senses to them. We are adding vision to them. I was at the IDF event in August, the Intel event in San Francisco. And they showed RealSense, a really small device which can see in 3D. So this is actually what happened. This guy is holding up this RealSense-enabled smartphone, and in real time gets a 3D representation, and they could turn this guy around like in 3D. So why is that important? Well, this guy was running around on the, during the event, the robot, and of course running around with errands. So you could say, go to that place, and this little box here, you could add like about Coke there or whatever, and this guy would run there or go to that, go up the elevator, and and you don't want this guy to bump into things. So we need this 3D in real time ability when this is walking around. And this is some photos that I shot at that event. Participants, it was actually really good to see about 50-50 men, women. That's an important factor, the gender equality. But so we were all experimenting with these sensors around the sessions. So adding sensors to that board, and then just writing a few lines of JavaScript, and all of a sudden we had the sensor that could actually talk to the cloud. So it's not rocket science. We were just playing around, and it was really, really nice. So we are adding sensors to them, like the teddy bears with the microphones and the cameras and the speakers. This is a patent by Google, May 25, 2015. We're adding sensors to cities. Helsingborg is building out 40,000 sensors for sound, for pollution, for light, etc. in the city, getting the data and just opening up the data to anyone. So this is the data, find out what's going on. And we have an ecosystem around with students and companies getting the hands of the data, maybe building new features. Dynamic ecosystems I already mentioned. I think this is probably the most important slide of all of my slides. This is a really important one. We're going from here to here. We have to go from here to there. this is the legacy way of looking at your business. This is us, and we have a customer, and that's it. And in a digital age, this is not the case anymore, because the customer is pulling in applications, apps, digital products, sites, product experiences from many sources at the same time. And those who win are those who give functionality and information into that context. So opening up and interacting with others in an ecosystem around you is really important. And the digital natives are doing it. I think we can learn a lot from them when we transform legacy. These are screenshots from makers of activity bands, you know, this Energy, Nike Fuel Band, Fitbit, Jawbone, and all of that. And they all have that developer.company.com. As a developer, I can go to this site, I can sign up, I get an API key, I can start to get at the data collected by everyone who's running around and collecting their points for how fast they ran, etc. But only for those individuals who have authorized my key, you see. So we're protective, we make sure we have the privacy aspects in place. And then this is growing up. This third-party services. These companies are not selling the devices, but they're pulling data from all of these activity bands to give new types of training, fitness features and functionality. So we imagine having a Fitbit band or activity band and not be part of that. And your customer and their customer would go here and say, well, that wristband hasn't opened up. So that will of course lead me as a customer, then I won't buy it, you see, because I like that app, I don't like their app, you see. So we see APIs being opened up, of course, from various sources. This is the Open Stockholm portal from the city of Stockholm. The public data are being opened up and published, and these are the APIs, so I can go in and read how to get to the data and start to build Stockholm-related apps. Finally, just a few words again on innovation. I talked already to you about the ideation phase, the selection phase, and the incubation, and how you take an idea and you prototype it and you get it into production. Now, the leaders are successful in getting a structured process around this. These two are immensely important in your innovation process and lab. First, when you have selected what to prototype, this is a mistake, a typical mistake, that you make sure that your prototype is functionally 100%. So you build all the functionality, but you don't go into the reliability, the usability, the user experience, the visual design, because you simply didn't have time. It's just a prototype. Now that's the technical developer approach. And then we as a developer, we wonder, why doesn't anyone like our prototype? Well, because it's ugly. It works, but it doesn't look good. Instead, scope it like this. Just remove all of that unnecessary functionality from a prototype and then go all the way up to emotional design, visual design, user experience. So cut it that way instead. And in an innovation lab, if you don't fail, often, you're not trying hard enough. A prototype, an idea, you should expect to fail. So make sure that you fail fast. That you don't invest pride and this is my idea, we need to push it. Just have everyone's mind being set on we're going to fail fast. So going back again to the theme of the summit, we need to ask, of course, ourselves, and now maybe in the future the machines, will we succeed? Will the business succeed? Or ultimately, when will the world when is the world going to end, of course, is an interesting question, and this is the machine answer to that question. So with that, I know it's time for you to enjoy workshop number 2. This was